Have you ever wondered why pain visits most when everything on the outside seems fine? You've survived the chaos. You've done the inner work. You've learned to function, and yet, there's still a sadness beneath the surface, still a weight behind the smile, still a silence that screams when no one's around. You're not alone. This ache, this invisible heaviness, is not a flaw in your design. Carl Jung once wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Suffering you feel is not a punishment. It is a passage. It's not meant to destroy you. It's meant to awaken you. Pain is not the problem. It's the invitation." Most people rush to escape suffering. They numb it. They deny it. They dress it up in productivity and call it strength. But the soul doesn't respond to performance. It responds to honesty. And sometimes the only thing honest left in your life is the part of you that hurts. We are taught to fix pain, to silence it, to label it as weakness. But what if pain is not asking to be fixed, but followed? What if the discomfort you feel is your soul knocking on the door of your life, saying gently, "This isn't who you are. You are not broken. You are being summoned." Jung believed that suffering has meaning, not always one we can name, but one we can feel, if we dare to stay with it. And staying with it is the hardest part. It's easier to scroll, to drink, to laugh it off, to say I'm fine. But inside, you know you're not. You know something is off. And that knowing, no matter how quiet, is sacred. It's not a breakdown. It's the threshold of transformation. Suffering is not just pain. It is the part of you that still feels, still cares, still longs for what's real. The ache you feel is proof your soul is still alive. The question is not, how do I escape this? The real question is, what is this pain trying to show me? Maybe it's showing you all the ways you've abandoned yourself. The times you said yes when you meant no. The moments you kept quiet to avoid conflict. The parts of you you buried just to feel accepted. Maybe it's showing you how far you've drifted from your center. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What you avoid becomes your master. What you face becomes your guide. You can't heal what you keep pretending doesn't hurt." Suffering isn't the enemy. It's a compass, a holy disruption, a refusal to let you settle for a life that numbs you. It asks you to stop, to listen, to drop beneath the surface. And there, in the silence, you may find something unexpected. Grief you've carried since childhood. Dreams you buried to be realistic. A voice inside you that's never had the chance to speak. This is not the kind of healing that fits into a timeline. It's the slow unraveling of everything false. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It's confusing. It's lonely. But it's real. Don't fear the silence. That's where the soul speaks loudest. You begin to feel differently. Noise irritates you. Small talk exhausts you. You crave meaning even if you don't yet know what it looks like. This is the calling, not from some external source, but from within. The self is knocking, not the self you show the world, but the one that remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. Jung called this process individuation, the journey of becoming whole, not better, not perfect, but whole. The soul doesn't want you to improve. It wants you to return, but to return, you must let go. Let go of the mask. Let go of the performance. Let go of the image you've upheld to survive. And that is terrifying, because what's left when all the pretending is stripped away? Just you, raw, unfiltered, uncertain, but also free. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And that privilege begins where comfort ends. It begins here, in the middle of your suffering, in the places you've been trying not to feel, in the emotions you've labeled too much. It begins when you stop fixing and start listening. Sometimes the healing begins the moment you stop running. Your suffering is not the end of you. It's the voice beneath your coping, the mirror behind your defenses, the truth behind the story. You are not too sensitive. You are not too late. You are not alone. You are waking up, slowly, painfully, beautifully, and no one can do it for you. But you don't have to do it all at once. One honest breath, one brave question, one moment of stillness is enough to begin. Your wholeness isn't out there. It's buried beneath what you survived. So sit with your pain, not to wallow in it, but to hear what it's been trying to tell you all along. You are not broken. You are remembering. Let that remembering deepen. Let it move you. Let it shape the way you walk back toward yourself. Because the truth is, the soul never stops calling. Only we stop listening. Until now, the pain isn't here to punish you. It's here to realign you. Take a breath, let it land, and before you go, ask yourself, what part of you has returned through this reflection? What whisper rose from the silence? What have you felt that words can't fully explain? Write it in the comments, not for likes, but for yourself, to anchor this moment of truth, so it won't slip away. And when you're ready, keep watching the next part of this video series. Let this remembering continue. Let it stretch deeper into your everyday life. Don't rush back into the noise. Stay here just a little longer. Reflect, breathe, practice what you've remembered. And if this video held a mirror to something you've long ignored, consider subscribing so you don't lose the path you just started walking. And maybe share this with someone who's hurting. Someone who needs to know their pain is not the end, but the beginning. You are not here to perform healing. You are here to embody it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for feeling. Thank you for remembering. There comes a strange moment in the journey inward, when you no longer crave answers, but honesty. You stop asking, when will this end? And begin whispering, what is this showing me? Because something in you knows. You've reached the sacred part of the path. The part no one talks about. The part where transformation feels less like becoming and more like unraveling. Healing doesn't always look like rising. Sometimes it looks like crumbling. With awareness, you find yourself quieter now. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you're tired of pretending. You're tired of explaining your ache. Tired of translating your silence. Tired of smiling on the outside while grieving something unnamed on the inside. Carl Jung wrote, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." You know that kind of loneliness. Not from isolation, but from inauthenticity. And so you begin to choose differently. You choose solitude over noise, depth over performance, stillness over distraction. You pull back from conversations that echo, from connections that don't nourish, from spaces that ask you to dim just to belong. You are not withdrawing. You are returning to where your soul can breathe. This withdrawal isn't regression, it's refinement. You are shedding the parts of your life that no longer hold your truth. And it hurts, because some of those parts once saved you. The overachieving, the people-pleasing, the perfectionism, they were survival once. But now they've become cages. Carl Jung said, The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Not because you're unworthy, but because you've spent a lifetime building a version of yourself that felt acceptable. And now that version is collapsing, not violently, but slowly, softly, in moments that feel like forgetting, but are really remembering. You're not losing yourself. You're losing who you had to be to survive. You begin to grieve, not just people or places, but identities. You grieve the you who smiled through betrayal, the you who stayed quiet when your soul was screaming, the you who learned to be small in rooms too afraid of your depth. This grief is holy. It's not the kind that breaks you. It's the kind that breaks you open. Jung believed that wholeness is not achieved through idealism, but through integration. And that means you don't get to skip the dark. You don't get to transcend your wounds by pretending they never happened. You must go back, feel it, face it, hold it in your hands and whisper, "I see you now." You can't become whole by rejecting the parts of you that still hurt. This is not easy work. This is soul work, and it doesn't come with a map. You won't get instructions, only invitations. Invitations to sit with your anger without judging it, to meet your sadness without trying to solve it, to welcome the voice inside that says, "I don't know who I am anymore," and simply say, "Good." That means you're getting closer. Because clarity doesn't always come in light. Sometimes it comes through the dust of demolition. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That darkness might look like the memory you've buried, the shame you never named, the guilt that doesn't match the facts, but lives in your bones anyway. You must meet these parts, not with blame, but with presence, not to justify, not to rewrite, but to feel. You don't need to understand everything. You need to stop abandoning yourself when it hurts. Some days that presence will look like crying in your car for reasons you can't explain. Some days it will look like resting when your mind tells you you haven't earned it. Some days it will look like saying no, even if it disappoints someone you love. This is not selfishness. This is soul alignment, because you're no longer asking what will make me acceptable. You're asking what will make me whole. Carl Jung called this the emergence of the self. It's not the version of you that fits. It's the one that feels. The one who doesn't perform. The one who doesn't apologize for being too deep, too sensitive, too real. The one who is willing to be misunderstood in order to be free. You're not too much. You're just finally allowing yourself to exist without edits. As you return to this self, you begin to live differently. You speak with more pauses. You listen with more presence. You make decisions from intuition, not obligation, and people notice. Some will feel closer to you than ever before. Others will feel threatened because your truth will illuminate their performance. Your freedom will rattle their control. That's okay. You're not here to make everyone comfortable. You're here to live from your center. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That privilege requires loss, but what you lose was never truly you. It was the mask, the noise, the pretending. You are not losing your life. You are finding your soul. Every part of you that feels unfamiliar right now is the part you exiled to be loved. Now, you are loving it back into existence. And that is the bravest thing you'll ever do. So pause, let that truth land. And before you go, breathe with it. Then ask yourself, what did your soul whisper to you today? What truth stirred beneath the silence? What permission did you finally give yourself? Write it in the comments, as a witness to your own awakening, as a way to anchor this moment so it doesn't fade back into forgetfulness. And when you're ready, keep watching part 3 of this series. Let the remembering continue. Let the healing root deeper than words. And if this video mirrored something within you, something sacred, something silent, something strong, subscribe, not to follow this channel, but to follow your soul. And maybe share this with someone who's hurting in a way they can't explain. Someone who needs a sign that their ache isn't madness, it's a message. You are not here to escape your pain. You are here to let it teach you how to live. Thank you for listening. Thank you for feeling. Thank you for staying. There comes a moment in the healing journey where the storm quiets, but peace hasn't fully arrived. You faced the pain. You stopped running. You started listening. And now, you're here, in the in-between. No longer asleep, but not fully awake. No longer numb, but still learning how to feel without fear. This is a sacred space, a threshold, a quiet turning point where the soul prepares you not just to understand your pain, but to live differently because of it. The soul doesn't just want to be heard, it wants to be followed. Carl Jung wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul, but you didn't avoid it. You turned inward, you stayed, you listened, and that's why things feel different now. Even if nothing has changed on the outside, you have changed. You feel more, not just sorrow, but beauty, not just loss, but clarity, not just discomfort, but direction. Your pain didn't make you weaker, it made you more honest. Now comes the work of integration, because insight without embodiment is just another mask. You've seen the truth, but now you must live it. Not once, not perfectly, but daily, in your choices, in your boundaries, in how you speak, love, and rest. Healing isn't just reflection, it's realignment. Carl Jung believed that the goal of individuation was not to transcend the world, but to stand rooted within it as your full self. And that self includes everything you used to hide: the sadness, the longing, the fire, the fear. Sensitivity that once made you feel fragile now becomes your compass. Everything you feel deeply is a doorway back to your truth. This is not an easy path. The world is loud. People will question you. Old patterns will tempt you to return, but you're not who you were. You don't abandon yourself as quickly. You don't explain yourself as often. You don't fake joy to make others comfortable. You rest when you're tired. You speak when you feel truth stir in your chest. You walk away from things that no longer feel alive. You are learning to live with both tenderness and strength. Not either or, but both. Carl Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, and yet that's what you're doing, bit by bit, with trembling courage, with quiet defiance, with holy rebellion." Wholeness is not comfort, it's courage. You may not recognize your own voice sometimes, because you've been silent for so long, but now it's rising, clear, calm, unapologetic. You no longer search for your worth in other people's eyes. You find it in your own reflection, in the tears you've shed, in the truths you've spoken, in the nights you didn't numb the pain. You are not healed. You are healing. You are not done. You are becoming. There's no final version of you, only deeper layers to return to. Sometimes your old self will whisper. It'll ask you to go back to people, to patterns, to performances that once gave you safety. But you'll pause and remember, Safety is not the same as soul. Comfort is not the same as truth. And silence is not the same as peace. Carl Jung wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." And you are awakening, not to become a brand new person, but to remember who you were before the world asked you to be someone else. You were never too much. You were simply too real for a world addicted to masks. You'll still have hard days, but they won't undo you. You'll still feel lost at times, but you'll know how to return. Not by fixing, not by force, but by listening to your body, to your emotions, to the subtle voice that lives beneath all the noise. The soul rarely shouts, but it never stops speaking. The next chapter of your life begins with deeper listening. And now it's time to carry what you've remembered into the life you live. Not just in quiet moments of reflection, but in your real, messy, beautiful everyday. This is the practice, washing the dishes with presence, saying no without guilt, letting silence sit at the dinner table, crying without needing a reason, laughing without apologizing for your joy. This is not performance, it's alignment. Carl Jung said, "Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries. So don't leave any part of yourself behind. Welcome the part that still doubts. Welcome the part that still fears. Welcome the part that still hopes. Let them all belong. You are not here to become someone else. You're here to come home. And when the world tries to pull you back into forgetting, pause, touch your chest, breathe deep, and remember, you heard the call, you followed it into the dark, you felt the ache, you stayed, you didn't abandon yourself, you honored your suffering as the sacred signal it was always meant to be. And now, you walk with a different rhythm. You're slower, softer, stronger in ways that don't need to be loud, and without even trying, you've become a light for someone else. Not because you gave them answers, but because your presence reminds them of their own. The most healing thing you can offer the world is your authenticity. So before we end, ask yourself again, what part of you woke up in this journey? What pain did you reclaim? Not to erase, but to understand. What truth did your soul whisper that the world has never let you say out loud? Write it in the comments, not as a performance, but as a sacred record of your own return. And if this 3-part journey has stirred something deep inside you, share it with someone who's hurting, with someone who's seeking, someone who's ready to remember who they are. Your remembering might just be someone else's beginning. And if this video felt like home, subscribe, not just to support this work, but to stay connected to the path you've chosen to walk. One of truth, of soul, of quiet, radical wholeness. Let this be the beginning of a different way of living, not perfectly, but honestly, not without fear, but with love. And when you're ready, keep watching. Let the next reflection guide you deeper. Let the rhythm of remembrance become your way of being. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying. Thank you for being. You are not broken. You are just now becoming whole.